It's Sunday morning at the Fuji Speedway, and welcome to the second of two races here for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia. Great race yesterday with Gamma Racing, the predominant team, taking victory by 3 seconds. Chris van der Drift and Evan Chen. And the driver who started yesterday will go second today. So Evan will be kicking off, and he'll be starting from 7th on the grid. So he's leaving his Kiwi teammate a real challenge, but they have been supreme this season. First to the checkered flag in all 5 races, but one of those was taken away, one of those victories for technical infringement. As you can see down on the grid, it is a bustling place. This is the front row, 89, Massimiliano Wieser, the D1 Racing Team. His first race in the championship this year will start from Poland. Alex Au, who doubles up for Blancpain GT World Challenge Asia, both races with Lamborghinis for this team, Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. So it's Alex Au getting plenty of track time here at the Fuji Speedway. 2-driver race, 50 minutes, and for some of the cars at the back of the field, they only have the one driver, but they have to serve that minimum time in the pit lane, so all is fair. They just get more of a crack, more of a chance to run at it. It's a grey morning, a warmish morning. 12 months ago, it was pushing 40 degrees here. At the moment, you can see people dressed for intermediate weather. It's comfortable for the drivers, and certainly the main thing after what's been a wet week is getting grip in the tyres. It's been relatively cool, and the teams have had to learn, because normally at this point in the season, when they come to the Fuji Speedway, it's all about keeping your tyres cool. Now it's about trying to warm them up. This is the second row. Outside the front row, the second row, Satoshi Furuta for Promotion Racing, and the red car, Stephen Lin. He had a bit of a troubled race yesterday. He was docked 30 seconds for causing an avoidable collision, and had 30 seconds added to his time for that. But we have 4 classes here. We have the Pro, the Pro-Am, the Am, and the LC, the Lamborghini Cup cars that tend to be at the rear of the field. But now we can start to see the cars in the clear, 19 of them coming out to play, and this one is one that's always going well. So Hojas Racing. This time it's being started by Toshi Ochai. He'll hand over to his teammate, a very rapid Yafik Azid. Car 57, the brothers Seri Thoranikal, Sarun will start and hand over to Sarabul. They had a good race yesterday and were second in the Am class, so the Thai racers really enjoying their time at Fuji Speedway. Some great circuits visited. We started at Sepang, went to Suzuka, here at Fuji Speedway, and next stop, Yongam, the home of the short-lived Korean Grand Prix, a track that really is unlike any other. So plenty of variety for the first 4 rounds, and we will carry on through the course of the season, all the way to 6 rounds, and then the lucky ones go to the World Final. FFF Racing Team, that's Takashi Kasai. He'll hand over to Yusuf Puhaka, very handy Finn. And then Evan Chen, this is the car that's taken the checkered flag in front 5 times so far, been able to keep 4 of those wins. Evan Chen concentrating on what lies ahead. A fairly short run down to the first corner, dipping down into turn 1, which then drops away sharply to the right. And then the wonderful sweepers through Coca-Cola corner, which is turn 3, the long 100R corner, up to the hairpin known as Advan corner, just down below the fantastic circuit cafeteria. Really brilliant place to watch the racing from. You can look down onto the circuit and the valley below, and then the long sort of double right-hand kink run down to the chicane, and then gradually the climb back uphill through Supra corner eventually, which is the penultimate turn, and then Panasonic corner, the tight right onto the ultra-long start-finish straight. 1.5 kilometres, best part of a mile, and as you can see, it rises to a crest pretty much where that front row of the grid is from that final corner, then drops away down towards the first turn, turn 1. Now known as TGR corner. Constantly changing driver names. This morning I actually took time out to go beyond turn 1 to the old bank corner built into the mountainside that was discontinued some while back. You would have had to have been super brave, arriving down more than a mile of straight over the crest, and then it drops in and the cars kick away down through that bowl. Fearsome stuff, but I'm sure health and safety has had its role in preventing drivers going to compete on that. And now we have the 19 cars lined up, dry conditions. Rain was predicted yesterday and for today, but right now with 50 minutes of racing ahead, I'm fairly sure we're going to be dry the whole way through to the finish. So cars will go around on a formation lap, and then they will come formed in 2x2 formation, all 19 of them ready to take that rolling start. Just to refresh on that run through the grid, as the field will be led away very shortly. In about 10 seconds he'll go. It's Massimiliano, or Max Visa as he's known, Italian racing driver, done a lot of his racing in Japan. He'll start the 89 D1 Racing Team car, the black one with the yellow flashes. That will be on pole position. And Alex Au in the traditional white colour, white, blue and yellow colours of Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. They are the front row. And just to tell you where they finished yesterday, the Visa car finished down in 5th, 3rd in the Pro-Am class. And the Vincenzo Sospiri car was just ahead of it. Well, in fact, one position ahead, but actually about 30 seconds up the road. So Alex Au will be handing over to Yuki Nomoto. Very handy. Right, that's the front row of the grids. They go down to turn 1. Just getting that heat of the tyres. Then Yulin, number 6, leading the AM class by a good bit. And then Satoshi Furuta, the black car with the white nose. There it is. You can see it coming down the hill. 3rd row, the Seri Thoranical brothers and Toshiyuki Ochai, and that's a car that will go forward. There you can see the Ochai car. It's the aquamarine coloured car. In behind, in 7th position as they come round, Evan Chen in the 68 Gamma Racing car, and then Takashi Kasai in the FFF Racing Team colours, a black with the orange that has been carried around the world now, competing, in fact, running the 3 Works Lamborghinis effectively, or semi-Works Lamborghinis in the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe and in the Blancpain Endurance Championship. So the Chinese team, FFF Racing Team, had their first success at that level last weekend at Misano, and really on a high. Good to see them competing here as well. Very much a Lamborghini team. So right down to the penultimate row, the grid, Satellite Buncharin. I bring out the rear, Takeshi Matsumoto for GDL Racing. He pulled out of yesterday's race really very early on, but he rocketed up on the opening lap from 19th up to about 10th. So look out for him. He will be making progress. It's black. Car he will be racing in, and goes very well indeed. There it is, 19th and last in the queue. So I'm sure he'll have his fun. Let's see how far he can rise. And a car that's sure to come forward, particularly in the second half of the race, starting down in 13th position. Massimo Vignali will kick off in the number 7 for Leipert Motorsport, but then he'll be handed to Brendan Leach, and the Kiwi is an absolute flyer. So he's the one that makes that car have super progress. That will come in the second part of the race. Yesterday he got monstered on the opening lap, had to try and fight his way back, but really the damage was done with contact that sent him a spinning. So the front row of 89, Max Visa and Alex Au in at 66, considering life as they run around behind the pace car of the formation lap. 50 laps, 50 minutes of racing. 50 laps would be fun, but it would upset the race schedule for all else today. Packed programme here at Fuji Speedway, good number of crowds, a huge number of support races, but this is ready to go. Max Visa, we need Alex Au to come forward a little bit, so they're 2 by 2, and then the trigger will be pressed. The lights on the starting gantry will go from red to green. They're full red now. Drivers all waiting, beautiful, neat lines as the stewards require, and off we go. Full start, looks like a very tidy getaway from Max Visa. Not a bad start from the outside of the front row from Alex Au. We can already see Toshiyuki Ochai moving around onto the outside in Hojust Racing Car. Should sweep from 6th into 4th. Stephen Lin, Yulin, into 3rd place. Nice and tidy. One car going a little bit wide. That's car 44. Clement Lee gets it back on the black stuff, then skirts the grass. But 1st and 2nd, as they were in formation. Visa ahead of Alex Au. Good start from Lin. So the first 3 in order. The person who gained was Ochai, number 38, from 6th up to 4th. So Furuta's gone a little bit backwards. In fact, he's gone 2 places backwards to 6th. Wow, Visa means business. Rocketing clear. Alex Au holding back a little bit. I think it's bravery from Visa. His tyres only just now getting up to temperature, but he was prepared to really, really push. That is quite a lead. It's going to be a 2nd by the end of the lap, but importantly for him, he'll be clear of the pack when they get to the chicane. So hard braking for the right-hander. Here comes the chicane, and there might be some place changes further back, but one person back is the operative word, unfortunately, for Evan Chen. Started 7th in number 68, the car that took victory yesterday, and he is just out of the right-hand side of our shot. He's lost 2 positions, down to 9th. I thought he might have slid slightly further, but I'll go with the graphic for now. But no mistaking who's leading the race. Max Visa, D1 Racing Team, number 89, got it under control. 1.1 seconds clear, part way around the opening lap. Come the end, looks like he's stretched that even further. Alex Au. Oh, we've had a place change behind because Ochai has went from 6th to 4th at the start, and he's moved past the red car of Yulin. So Ochai looking for another top result. Yesterday came home 2nd with Afik Yazid. Let's see if he can improve on that or even match that, but very quickly 6th to 4th, up to 3rd, giving chase. And another car making progress is the FFF Racing Team entry. Kasai looks like he's moved up into 4th place. Yes, he's gone ahead of Furuta. Kasai with the orange flash on the black. livery of the FFF racing team. There you can see that up into 5th place. But end of the opening lap, 1.8 seconds was the gap between Visa and Au. There is Au, and now super quickly Achai has got onto its tail, so Alex Au could be hunted down very shortly. Stephen Lin, Yu Lin, is going backwards in number 6. He did qualify very well, still holding down 4th place, but Kasai is meaning business from behind in number 63. Black car with the orange flash. Furuta went from 4th at the start. He's back down in 6th, but I don't think he's going to drop away too much. He's showing a decent speed in behind Kasai. And then the white car with the blue edgings on it, that's Saruthonical. Looking tidy in behind. Yep, all nose-to-tail stuff with the exception of Max Weezer. What a start from pole. Was clear by turn 1 and has continued ever further clear. Very brave around the opening lap, really pushing clear. Already out of the shot of this is the battle. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th. Then you had to look, just a flash on the left-hand side of the screen as Visa continued his escape. He already gained 0.9 of a second. He's 2/3 around the 2nd lap and continues to stretch clear. There he goes out of the final corner onto the start finish straight. Already hard on the power. Alex Au doing a good job holding off Ochai. But Toshiyuki Ochai means business. He's trying to get into that slipstream. This super long run, 1.5 kilometres, almost a mile down the start finish straight. But Au got very good speed out of the corner. He got the car balanced in 2nd place. Was able to get the power down, but he's already 3.4 seconds down on a absolutely mercurial Max Visa. What's happening behind? In the far back, you can see number 44 as a challenge for 2nd place. Didn't quite come, but already Ochai is showing Alex Au he's going to take the opportunity as soon as any door is left open. Half a chink there, but not quite wide enough for him to make 3rd place into 2nd. Clement Lee was the driver in the background. He was trying to make up places down the start finish straight. He came across the line in 11th place, but he was very, very close to Yoshihara. And Matsumoto, last time he went from 19th up to 10th on the opening lap. This time it's taken him 2 laps to go 19th through to 12th, but nobody else has been falling off ahead of him. We've got all the runners still going, so he's got to work that little bit harder. 1st to 2nd, 3.987 seconds. Let's call that 4 among friends. So another half second even by the time they get out of 100R. It was the checkpoint. Don't forget, pit window will be opening, let me see, about 15 minutes from now, but all concerns for the car in driver of the car in 2nd place, Alex Au, is to keep Ochai behind him, and as he does so, this is really starting to damage Ochai's hopes, because he's quicker than Alex Au, I would reckon, but the Vincenzo Sospiri driver, well, he's left the door super wide open and into the final corner. I don't know if he's being polite or just not paying attention. I think it was probably the former, and unfortunately that's now compromised his exit speed, being pushed over the curbs because he tried to avoid Ochai. It was a question of time before Ochai went up into 2nd place, but Au lost momentum. This is allowing Yu Lin to close in behind in the AM class leading car. I expected more progress from Kasai. He's still in 5th place overall, not catching Lin. You can see Ochai, the black car with the orange band up over its nose, in behind Furuta, then Saran Serithoranakal. And any progress from Matsumoto on that lap? No, he still comes across the line in 12th place overall, but he's very, very close to Lee and Yoshihara. Good little battle, just out of the back of this shot. Gap between 1st and 2nd, look at it on the graphic. It was 6.1 seconds on the start finish line. Further around the lap, already 6.4. There's only one way this lead is going, and that is stretching outwards. Here's Clement Lee, the black car with the blue flash. He's in behind the car that started 19th and last. Continues to make progress, Takeshi Matsumoto, but he's now held up behind this battle with Lee tucked in behind number 30 of Yoshihara. Not able to make his way past, so let's do a little house. But who's leading the Lamborghini Cup class? It is Yoshihara, so just mentioned his name. He's the red car from YH Racing. He's sharing with Takemichi Matsuda, but doing a very, very good job. Red car with the little yellow flashes on the side. Through the tight right-hand corner, through the little rather fiddly chicane. I almost wish that wasn't there, actually. I like the old sweep through what was effectively about turn 8, now called, I think, turn 10. Then, of course, this tight right, tight left, up to the tight right onto the start-finish straight, for reasons of not having them coming onto the start-finish straight at speed, but I still used to love that old sweep up the hill onto the start-finish straight, uninterrupted by twisters, but it is what it is. So the Lamborghini LC class, Yoshihara, Clement Lee just 0.6 of a second behind him. Gabriele Moroni 3rd in the class. He's down in 18th place overall, then 2 other cars behind him. with Kumar Prabhakaran bringing up the rear. Got someone reporting into the pits, trying to work out who that was. That could be race car 99. So again, problems have hit him. Takeshi Matsumoto enjoys his early laps, but something else has been untoward for the GDL racing car, and he's coming into the pits. But he got a little bit stuck in the battle of that battle just for 10th place downwards. But again, great progress in the early laps for the driver from GDL Racing. But the progress, nothing in comparison to that of Max Weezer, 8.1 seconds clear. You look at the position at the end of one lap, you then look at the position around the next lap, and he just continues to stretch. And his last lap was the best of the race. 1 minute 41.5 seconds. No wonder he's getting smaller and smaller. Ochai has now got 1.3 seconds over the car behind, so has stretched that very well indeed over Alex Au. And Alex Au and Yu Lin tussling very close, just 0.4 of a second. Oh, Alex Au is now being challenged. Well, he just lost the position because was the contact there? Looks like a little bodywork rubbing. Oh, a second visitor to the pits. What is going on? This is just looking for the number of the car coming in. It's 69. It's Angelo Negro sharing that with Zenlo. They had a little bit of a problem with that. Yesto, Ileso Motorsports, running in the AM class. Let's see what is untoward. Is that a puncture? Fresh set of tyres out, so one suggests it is. Looks so 99, and sadly the problem, whatever it is, requires work in the garage. Front left puncture is the problem. That is very unfortunate for Angelo Negro. The car seems to have had, not the car, the drivers just seem to have had a bit of bad luck. So here's our race leader, Max Weezer for D1 Racing Team. Started on pole, clean start, and stretching clear. Interval was 9.2 seconds halfway around the lap. Is he going to get out to next best to 10? 9.5 seconds. Here comes the chasing patch. Ochai Lin now up into third place. Alex Au back into fifth. Kasai has gone past him as well, and I reckon Kasai is going to really set about Yulin. But Yulin has shown a really good fighting form, leading the AM class third overall. But Kasai has a card up his sleeve. He's running in a pro class. He's a pro class driver, and he's going to hand over to Yusuf Pohaka. So look for the further progress, second half of the race of car number 63. It's done well, up from 8th at the start. Now up in 4th, challenging for 3rd. Another lap, I think he might be on the tail of Yulin. Glad to report Angelo Negro after the punctured front left, back in the race. Not so good for Matsumoto. We saw the 99 car being pushed back into the garage. Evan Chen been making quiet progress. Last time around he passed Satoshi Furuta, moved him up to 6th overall, and now the car that's won all the races so far onto the tail of Alex Au. Chen's got to just maybe gain another couple of positions if he can, and then he'll hand over to Chris van der Drift at the earliest opportunity and see if they can go on towards victory. But we have to look at the constant stretching of the advantage. Now 10.3 seconds. Massimiliano Visa ahead of Toshiuchi Akai, looking very, very good indeed. And Max Weezer will be handing over the 89 car, the car from D1 Racing Team, to Henry Kwong. Be a big ask for Henry Kwong, but all he's got to do is keep stretching that advantage. Absolutely in a class of his own. 10.3 seconds of gap halfway around the lap. Let's see what it is as Achai comes over the line. 10.7, stretching all the time. But what's happening behind it? Achai is now safe to get on and do his work in his chase for 2nd place, because Yulin is dropping back a little bit, and onto his tail comes Kasai. Alex Au not been dropped, not been passed. Well, he has been dropped very slightly, actually. You can see the white car with the yellow and blue flashes back in 5th position. He's falling away from this battle, but Evan Chen not yet onto his tail. Evan Chen 68 up into 6th place, but unable to close in as yet. Let's see how this one settles down. Yulin's had a very, very good season in the number 6 from the FFF Racing Team. Best overall result is a 7th place in Suzuka. Forget that he's running in the AM class and doing a very, very good job of it. Driver who started in racing Lamborghinis in 2013. He's also done a bit of GT racing in Asian Le Mans Series, Audi R8 LMS Cup, but Lamborghinis are his favourite. Yulin will be pleased with 3rd place overall. Max Weezer in the lead of this race, continuing to stretch clear, probably over 11 seconds clear now. He's the only driver who can just put in laps in the 1 minute 42s at will. What we're having now, though, well, we just had a place change. Evan Chen has moved ahead of Alex Au. Alex has just set his fastest lap in the race, but the chasing Evan Chen chose his moment and went past. Typical. Look at the timing screen, something suddenly happens. But just as I was about to give Alex Al the compliment of picking up the pace, finding the sweet spot in the tyres. However, down the start-finish straight, he's right in the slipstream of Evan Chen, and we may have a pace change down into turn 1. Do you go to the inside? Do you go to the outside? Well, Evan Chen has covered off the inside line in number 68, so up into 5th place. Alex Al using that slipstream. His nose just about no. Evan Chen has got his nose a fraction in front, holds the inside line. Has he got his braking done sufficiently to go from turn 1 to turn 2? Absolutely he has. So Alex Au is going to have to find a gap somewhere else to try and reverse the reversal that he's just suffered. Down into turn 3, he's having a look up on the inside line, but into Coca-Cola corner it does not happen. Plenty of runoff there. Good opportunities to try making moves. But will Evan Chen now rebuff him, repel him, pull clear? Max Visa 12.7 seconds clear. He gained nearly 2 seconds on the last lap. Very close to the fastest lap of the race that he set a handful of laps ago. Just got total control. The car in second place, here it is, Ho-Just Racing. At the wheel at the moment, Toshiyuki Achai. He's got clear of Lin, but I think Lin is being held back because he's got Kasai in his tail. So in terms of overall pace, I expected Achai to rather drop him, but they're matching each other's lap times. The fastest of that group, just coming into the bottom of the shop, is Evan Chen, picking up his pace. He's just set his best lap of the race, a second down on the pace of the race leader last time round, but faster than all 3 cars ahead of him, which is Achai, Lin and Kasai. So look out for Chen in 68, going very well indeed. It's a strange situation because he didn't qualify well, down in 7th place overall. The leading car in the Pro class, as it makes progress, is now Evan Chen, but it's only up into, it's Kasai, with Chen right on his tail. We've got 2 Pro-Am cars at the front, and then the 3rd car in the line, the red car of Stephen Lin, also Yu Lin, has his 2 racing names, is in 3rd place. So the Pro cars, you can see them coming. Black with the orange flash, that is the leading Pro car, but the one catching it behind, green and white either side of the red flash, up the middle, Evan Chen making progress. Another decent lap from him. He keeps on closing them down, but nobody could do anything about the race leader. Max Visa really happy into his stride in this race. 14.5 seconds clear, 15 seconds clear now at the halfway point around this lap number 9, making it look super, super easy. Stalemate in this battle for 3rd place overall. Stephen Lin got it under control, and in behind Takashi Kasai. They're actually teammates, both entered by the FFF racing team, but right now they're suspended. One needs to get one over the other, and all the time they're being caught, they're being chased, they're being just closed down on into the back of the shot. Any moment now will come the white, green and red car. There it is, car number 68, Evan Chen. Alex Au has not been dropped, he's responded, he's done a better lap. He's tucking in behind, but don't forget he started 2nd, he's now down to 6th. So I'd suggest he will be into the pits as soon as the pit window opens. That's 5 minutes from now. So really relatively close. We're looking at a gap of about 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds from Ochai in 2nd place down to Alex Au in 6th. But our race leader ever further clear. Another lap just outside the 1 minute 43s. No one else getting close to that there. Just outside the 41, sorry, he's in at 142.1 last time around. The best of the rest are doing 1 minute 43.5 second laps. Let's have a look. That is out 15.6 seconds. It just continues to go. More than a second a lap now. Ochai finally has got some breathing space. He's 2 and a bit seconds clear of Stephen Lin. Kasai tucked in behind, still in 4th place. Evan Chen gains a few more fractions of a second up into 5th place. Race control, looking at all the screens, they're looking for drivers who try and find advantages by going out beyond the racing lines, but I must say, very, very well controlled race. A little more incident yesterday, not always a good thing. The racing is tight. Alex Au is fighting back. He's just set his best lap of the race and is closing in on Evan Chen. So Chen went past him a few laps ago, and Alex Au is fighting back. So Vincenzo Sospiri Racing will be pleased with that. Just waiting for the pit window to be open, coming up in 2.5 minutes. Just now what we're seeing is suddenly Kasai's going to have to look in his mirrors. He's been chasing after Lin in that battle for 3rd place, but he's now got Evan Chen right onto his tail, and Chen in turn has got Alex Au refusing to give up. He'll be in the white car coming into the shot. Chen, this is his moment.
Alex Au, I think, will now start to close in. So it's the next couple of laps that Chen has got to start making his move. Equally, if he feels he's caught Kasai, which he has, is unlikely to get past. If he feels there's no gap coming up very soon, I think we'll see an early pit stop from number 68, from Evan Chen. And he'll hand over to his teammate, Chris van der Drift, as soon as he possibly can. The converse flip of that, if you will, is the fact that Max Wiese, leading the race by probably 16 seconds now, will stay out as long as he can, stay out until just before the pit window closes, before handing over to his teammate at D1 Racing Team, to Henry Kwong. Another super quick lap from Wiese, very close to his best in the race, 17.2 seconds clear. And if it's going to be a move for fourth place, it's got to come on this lap, I would suggest, from Evan Chen, right on the tail of Kasai. Furuta in seventh, just looking at him going through the drop, in behind Sarun Sarithoranikul. He'll hand over to his brother Saravut. And really, for any driver, if he feels that his teammate is the equal or even better than him, they will come in as early as they possibly can. So running Furuta, number 77, running black and white car. That is second in the AM class. Of course, that's being led by Stephen Lin in third place overall, but Furuta down in seventh place, being mirrored around the circuit by Seri Thoranikul. In fact, the last lap has been a good lap for Furuta. He's just put a little bit more space between himself and the Thai racer. In the background of the shot, I haven't really mentioned it, car number 39, Hulin Han for T-Squared Racing. He's in ninth place overall. And completing the top 10, car number 30, Daijiro Yoshihara for the YH Racing Team. But nobody has the answers to Max Wiese's pace, stretching clear with every single lap. In fact, such is his pace, you wonder how he and Henry Kwong only finished down in fifth position overall, 46 second down on the winning car yesterday. But Wiese knows the circuit after all his years of racing on the Asian and particularly the Japanese racing scene, and is doing an absolutely brilliant job. A slower lap for him last time around was the traffic. He suddenly did a lap as slow as everybody else, 1 minute 43 seconds. Well, actually, some of the others would aspire to that. Sori Thoranikul getting close in number 57. There goes Sarun. So he got his braking done a bit better. Different approaches to turn one. You can't really see it when you arrive downhill, but the corner really drops away. Here's car number 30. That's Yoshihara in 10th place. Clement Lee has been stuck behind him in 11th. The black car with the pale blue markings on it, just not able to get past. But this is the battle for the Lamborghini Cup. 10th and 11th, the best of the rest in the LC class. Moroni, but he's some distance back in 15th overall. And Clement Lee, probably just for his pit stop. Well, there's no one close behind him. Wave yellow flags. Get going, Evan. Get back on the circuit. Okay, he's got the engine fired up, so he did actually stall that. You can see the lights coming back on. Back onto the circuit on the exit of Coca-Cola corner, and now that LC. And he's just in front of the next car through. Is that Buncharoen, the 78? True Vision's motorsport car. He's in that little pack, so Clement Lee has lost not only track time, but 69 sweeps past as well. That's Angelo Negro on his recovery drive. Don't forget he had a puncture. And is a full lap behind. He's got some people to race with now. 18.6 seconds the gap between first and second. Nobody blinking. The pit window is now open, but as I suggested, Max Wiese will just keep on going in the lead as long as he possibly can. Just trying to see if Toshiyuki Achai is going to dive into the pit lane to hand over to teammate Afi Yazid. Yes, so he did. I expected him to be a relatively early pit stopper because his Malaysian teammate is very, very handy indeed for Hojust Racing. So, watching the screens, all looks pretty calm. It's been a very well-balanced race. In fact, that little rotation for Clement Lee was the first indiscretion in the race. Nobody else involved. Ochai in from second place. So that promotes Stephen Lin up into second overall because he's shooing coming into the pit lane. Max Wiese, though, presses on. He did a 1 minute 40. He was doing all these 1 minute 41s and no 1 minute 42 second laps. Did a 1 minute 43.2, 1 minute 22.42.4. So coming down again. Alex Au will be handing over the 69 Vincenzo Sospiri racing car to Yuki Nomoto. Yuki put in some really good laps yesterday, so let's see how he can fare in the second part of this race. They finished fourth, that number 66 crew yesterday. So in fact the vast half the field, pretty much half the field, decided to come in early on, and one car that will go out and I'm sure will really start to make progress is the car that will be in the hands of Brendan Leach. And I'm sure we'll see that starting to move up the order. Certainly very good laps from the Kiwi yesterday. That's car number 7 from MyPet Motorsport. Massimo Vignali in the pits, so he'll get his shot very soon indeed. Max Visa just totally controlled in the 89. As the car comes out of the pits, he's putting a full lap on them. Of course, he'll make his pit stop, but will certainly, come what may, that car will be in the lead of the race when it's put into the hands of Henry Kwong. Slightly slower laps again from Max Visa. Maybe he's really stretched the life of those tyres as far as they want to go, but it's been a masterclass thus far here at the Fuji Speedway. 50 minutes of racing, and we're very close to the halfway point in the race. When you see 25 minutes on that clock as it counts down, that will be the halfway point. Afik Yazid getting going, getting the feel of the car that came in from second place overall. Started by Toshiyuki Ochai. And the next time round, this is the second visit for the number 69. It came in to have a front left puncture replaced. Angelo Negro will hand that over to his teammate for Ileso Motorsport, to Zen Low. And having had the delay with that puncture, Zen will be racing, well, he'll be racing for points in the AM class, but for pride as well, but so you don't turn a chance to go competing here at the Fuji Speedway. That was number 8 coming out of the pits. Michael Choi sharing that with Kenneth Lau, racing for the Kamlung Racing Team. Now it's really getting nice and interesting out on the circuit after the pit stops. There's been advantage for 63. Came in ahead of 68 and 66. In fact, no advantage now I think about it, because that was the order they were running on the track before that round of pit stops. So into 63 now it should be Jusu Pohaka. Into 68 will be Chris van der Drift, and into 66 Alex Au's got out, and Yuki Nomoto is on board, shaping up well, already closing up. But do I sense that Pohaka just found a car length or so, but Chris van der Drift has got, well, Yuki Nomoto shows means business, because he's trying to use the slipstream, and importantly, all of them have got ahead of the red car that Stephen Lynn started in front of them, was in front of them from the pit stops. He's not had a driver change, he has had his pit stop, and he's come out behind them, so they've all gained one position, or more to the point. The number 6 car, leading the AM class, has lost positions, and Nomoto has gone straight past van der Drift. Nomoto's had a brilliant outlap, a brilliant first flyer. Van der Drift is going to have to compose himself. Don't forget, when Van der Drift gets in the car, it tends to take the checkered flag as the first car to the finish. That's happened so far this season already on 2 occasions. And the other races he's won, having started the race in this very strong combination with Evan Chen. But right now, seizing the moment from the outset, Yuki Nomoto, well, maybe it's home pride, racing on home soil in Japan. Let's see what the 66 car could do, twitching a little bit under braking just before the chicane, getting closer and closer to Jusu Pohaka. But Max Visa continues to lead the race, 28 seconds clear, and that is of one of only 4 other cars that have yet to make a pit stop. So the car in second place is the car of Sarun Sarithoranikul. He'll hand it over to his brother Saravut. That's number 57 from PSC Motorsports, leading the AM class by dint of staying out, but he's been having a really, really good run. But 89 started from pole from D1 Racing Team. On it will go until the very last moment where a pit stop can be made, and his lead will continue. You need pages of the calendar rather than just a stopwatch. I'd suggest it's been a truly remarkably good run. Afik Yazid, though, in second place now. Well, first of those who've made a pit stop, but importantly came in from second place, some distance, about 18 seconds down on the race-leading Max Visa when the pit window opened, and that 38 car from Hojas Racing dived into the pit lane. If you look on the screen, Yazid is 6th on the listing, but all the cars in front of him, the front 5, need to make a pit stop. And Yazid is comfortably clear of Jusu Pohaka. 5.5 seconds was his advantage, but there's Pohaka being chased by Yuki Nomoto at the moment. Chris van der Drift is adrift. Let's see what he can do in the later stages of this race. Still got 23.5 minutes remaining. Maybe it could be said that Nomoto's is pushing his tyres super hard. Slightly confusing moment. 2 cars from Vincenzo Salisbury Racing, but it's the one with the yellow wing who lost a little bit of time on behind his own teammate. That's a little unfortunate. Kumar Prabhakaran, who's riding around towards the rear of the field, slightly obstructed him, so advantage to the Finn, but out of the chicane. It's only about half a second, but or tenths of a second count here. And all along, Van der Drift is just not staying with their pace at the moment, but maybe he knows more about his tyres than they do. He's going to come good in the latter stages of the race, but at the moment Puhaka putting in a really, really good run. And with the 5 wins for the 58 car, the car that's just coming onto the start-finish straight at the back of your shot there so far, 4 kept, 1 lost. When the first race was taken away from them after victory in the first of 2 races, Suzuka victory went to Alex Au. His teammate that weekend, Yuki Nomoto. Yuki then was kept on. They've had a 6th and a 4th place between them since then, and now Nomoto's he's just really going, having a little look up the inside of Puhaka. But Puhaka in 63 for FFF Racing Team prevails, but certainly Nomoto is just looking very energetic. This effectively the battle for 3rd place. Max Visa continues to stretch out in front. Sarun Thoranical will be into the pit stop, I would suggest, fairly soon. In fact, he has just pitted. As I said those words into the pits, he came from 2nd place. Wheeling Han will now be promoted to 2nd. And the lead of the AM class, but he needs to come and make a pit stop. Yoshihara still out there, and Clement Lee had that rotation. In fact, 2 of the others have just come in, so I think we're really just waiting for Max Visa to come in. He's only got another 1.5 minutes to do so. His laps better than anyone else as they come out of the pits. He's still matching their lap times, but it was his laps, the opening 10 laps this race, where he just stretched that advantage, made it look so easy. His pace has dropped away a little bit as his tyre life presumably has been less energetic since then. The driver who's using his tyres the hardest in the second half of the race is certainly number 6, Yuki Nomoto, trying everything he can. There, suddenly, half a gap, and before Yusuke Puhaka realised it was there, Yuso just didn't think he was close enough, and then suddenly realised, oops, if I turn in now, there's going to be trouble. So he's back into, well, here comes our race leader into the pits. No need to rush. Henry Kwong will take over. So the car in 2nd place overall, ignoring the last car to make its pit stop, is Yazid. Now Nomoto up into effective 3rd. Puhaka in 4th. Chris Van der Drift. Puhaka had a little look to the inside. Different approach to turn 1, but it's worked very, very well indeed for Nomoto. Now the roles reversed. 66 ahead of 63. Puhaka, what can he do? What's happening at the moment, though, is Chris Van der Drift. There seems to be nothing that he can do to stay with them. On the start-finish line, he was nearly just over 2.5 seconds off the tail of this battle. They may slow each other down as they fight, but it seems as though Nomoto is not going to be caught. He made the move, and now he's just eking his way clear. 63, Puhaka doing his best, but at the moment that doesn't look like a podium position. It looks like 4th place overall for Puhaka, but hey, nonsense. 20 minutes remaining in this race. If he can fight back, he will. Pit window is now closed. It still says open at the top of the screen, but everybody has made the pit stop. We don't need to worry about that. All right, this is the moment where the screens make their final adjustment, the timing screens. But as you can see from the graphic on the left, Max Visa will have, when the car comes onto the track, it will be Henry Kwong, will be leading from Afik Yazid, and the lead will be, well, 20 seconds plus. Here comes Henry Kwong back into the lead of the race, passes the white line, can now accelerate out of the pit lane. Will the long shot? Yes, there is the car in 2nd place at the background of the field. Afik Yazid. Yazid ahead of Nomoto. It was 5.5 seconds. It's gone out to 6.5 seconds, but I think that's going to come down. I expect Nomoto to start trying his best, but no, what's happened? Now Yazid has got up to pace. Nomoto did actually bring it down a little bit, 6.1 seconds. I think that's going to be a big ask for the Japanese racer. Yazid from Malaysia looks pretty solid. Here he is for Hojas Racing in 2nd place. Listed as 1 minute 42 seconds behind the race leading car of Henry Kwong, but that was when Kwong crossed the start-finish line in the pit lane. I think if it's around 20-something seconds, that would be fairly accurate. Car 47 not really in the mix, had a little bit of a clash yesterday, and I think they got penalised yesterday, but the car shared by the Australian drivers, Daniel Stuttard, who started, and Richard Muscat. afraid they made a bit of a mistake in their pit stop, and they have got to serve a very lengthy stop-and-go penalty in the pit lane. They're listed at 8th place overall, 4th in the Pro-Am class, but I'm afraid that's going to knock their hopes for 6. Fastest driver on the track. Here he is, car number 7, 13th place last time round. This is Brendan Leach, now up to 12th. He just picked off Matsuda, that means he's up to 11th, and just set a very, very quick lap. Set that car's fastest lap, 1 minute 42.3 seconds. His next target, let's see, the next man up the track should be Julian Han. He's some distance off, but with the speed with which Matsuda was caught and passed shows the Kiwi is flying, but I don't think we're looking at a podium today. He's got 17.5 minutes, and he is down in 11th position. And here's the driver leading the LC category, car number 30, the car that's just been passed. That is Matsuda. The car was started by Daijiro Yoshihara, YH Racing Team, but now Matsuda. What is his advantage? Just waiting for the screen to settle down and let us know. Second place in car is 44. Clement Lee had that spin. It's a shame they were fighting together. Now Paul Wong seeing what he can do. Well, the race lead has come tumbling down because Henry Kwong yet to get... Well, now he might be fully up to speed, but it was only 6 seconds on the start-finish line. It just shows super quick laps from Yazid. He started to cut down. He set his fastest lap of the race last time around, 1 minute 41.8. Any lap in the 1 minute 41 is very good indeed. And Henry Kwong's pace is not the equal of that. No surprise, total difference in experience. But no wonder Max Visa stayed out as long as he could. So 16.5 minutes remaining, and Henry Kwong is being hunted down. One car between them, that's the Camlung Racing Team car, but I'm afraid it's a battle that whatever Max Visa did, there's no chance that Henry Kwong's going to be able to hang on and resist the car from Hojas Racing. Car in the pit lane at the moment, out of the battle. Oh, of course, that's the stop-and-go penalty for Richard Muscat. Don't know who the fault was, but clearly didn't stay for the minimum amount of time. But 51 second stop-and-go penalty. That stop, have a sandwich, and then get going all over again. Henry Kwong, though, his lead is going to disappear on this next lap. quarter of an hour to go. Going down the start-finish straight, still in the lead of the race for the D1 Racing Team, but you could just see with your eyes, as they say. Afik Yazid hunting him down, 0.775 of a second, not quite close enough to make a move into turn 1. Well, that's what Kwong thinks, but well, discretion the better part of valor as Muscat comes onto the track. He's now a full lap down. I reckon it's going to be about turn 3, Coca-Cola corner, where the passing manoeuvre. Yeah, better exit speed out of 2. We're going to have a change for the lead. Henry Kwong still leading. He'll be enjoying this, he'll be learning as he goes, but I hate the fact that the car that was way behind him at the start of the start-finish straight, a little bit wide from turn 3. Kwong, well, he gave it his best shot, but the greater appearance of Afik Yazid puts him into the lead of the race. Yazid's advantage over Namoto, becoming to the back of the shot, was about 6 seconds as they crossed the start-finish line. And I'd say the respective pace of those two drivers would have Namoto maybe just coming a little bit closer, but I think that's I think that's a winning lead now for Afik Yazid. Certainly they've been very good, Hojas Racing, this year. They have a second, a third, 11th, a second. You get the picture. They are the stars of the Pro-Am class and leading the class, leading the race now and pulling clear. And in fact, the difference between the pace of the front runners, Afik Yazid was best part of, in fact, he was 5 seconds faster than Henry Kwong last time around. He's passed him on this lap and is pulling ever further clear. So up to the final corner of this lap, number 20. The advantage will be, well, probably about 5 seconds when they cross the start-finish line. In the very background of the shot, you can see Henry Kwong still holding on to second place. May not even get to complete this lap in second, because Namoto will be catching him very, very soon indeed. Maybe, probably, I think around this course. Yes, Namoto, I can see the white car of Namoto still in third place. The black and yellow car behind the car that's a lap down. That's the car from the Australian racers from GDL Racing. That is a lap down, the car you see now. The car behind with the yellow flashes is Henry Kwong. Yeah, his pace 4.5 seconds down on Yazid, and Yazid got out of position and slower lap, making the passing manoeuvre. He has done that. So second and third, ignore the black car with the red stripe. That is a lap down. Henry Kwong still in second place. Yuki Namoto 66, hunting him down, catching him. All Pro-Am, the top 3 crews. The best of the pros, Puhaka in fourth place. Van der Drift 3 seconds down from Puhaka in 5th place overall. Henry Kwong again taking defensive lines where he can, but just he tends to run a little deep in the corners and trying to defend, and the chasers have been able to see what he's doing and respond into turn 1 and turn 3. That was turn 1. The undercut there from Nomoto up into 2nd place overall for the 66 car from Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. Henry Kwong was 1st, was 2nd, is now 3rd. The next person chasing after him, 3.5 seconds down, but therefore able to get onto his tail by the end of the lap is Yusuf Puhaka, leading the pro class overall. Yeah, Puhaka already in the background of the shot. You can see the black and orange car hunting down Henry Kwong. You really wanted Visa and Kwong to get onto the podium. Well, they're still in podium position in the Pro-Am class because Brendan Leach is the next guy in the class and he is some distance back. So with 12.5 minutes on the clock, Kwong should at least get to smile down from the podium. But unfortunately not as a finisher in the top 3 overall, which would have been a real claim to fame for him. Not only is Yazid leading, Nomoto in 2nd place, the white car, number 66, 5.8 seconds back, but another 0.4 of a second gained by Nomoto last time around over the chase. So the chaser is not catching, the chaser is now Nomoto with Puhaka, well, picking his moment, not out of 1, not through 2, but surely up the inside into turn 3. The Finn will go past Henry Kwong. He's got to see that he does that. Takes the wider line, notices, doesn't try and fight. That's absolutely wise. Doesn't run wide on the exit as we saw him do a couple of laps ago when Yazid went past. So Puhaka up into 3rd position overall. And one car that's really lost out in all of that. The first half of the race we saw Stephen Lin in number 6 running in 3rd place, leading the AM class, but there's been he's now 2nd in the class and 7th overall, because into the lead of the AM class cars comes car number 7, Promotion Racing, started by Satoshi Furuta. Now Jun Toshiro is in front and 6.5 seconds clear, so Toshiro definitely making progress, and Lin unfortunately retreating in that battle. But it's quite safe because the next car, 3rd car in the AM class, is back about a dozen seconds, 13 seconds in fact. That's Saravut, the 2nd of the Serithoranikal brothers. Chris van der Drift is sort of out of sorts today, not necessarily him, but that car that started by Evan Chen, started 7th, which clearly makes life harder, is now up into 5th overall in the hands of Chris van der Drift, yet to catch Henry Kwong. He will probably get him on this lap. There's Jun Toshiro, car 77, but importantly for him, doesn't matter, he's 6th. It's the fact he's leading the AM class, and you can see the advantage over Stephen Lin. There's the red and white car of Stephen Lin falling back last time around. Well, in fact, 0.6 of a second gained by the class leader. So good early laps, very good early laps from Stephen Lin, but right now, number 6 car from the FFF Racing Team suffering a little bit. Or maybe it's the fact he's running solo. Maybe he's feeling a little bit tired. A physical workout around here into the final 10 minutes. Black and white flag for exceeding track limits from the driver who does not need to do so. That's the driver leading the race. Afik Yazid sitting on a lead of just under 6 seconds. So you must get a message to him: don't misbehave. There's no point getting a penalty. 57, Saravut Serithoranikal in 8th place overall. Huilin Han getting onto his tail in 39, and catching the pair of them is Brendan Leeds, the black car with the yellow flashes. Number 7, totally different line for the driver from Weipert Motorsport. If he plays his cards right, he'll be up into 8th place within the next lap. He's 10th at the moment. Here comes another place gain. A little bit of a mistake there from Huilin Han. Oh, right across Leach's nose. Not very polite, but he's doing his best to try and recover, having lost momentum a little bit. But as they come down the hill, just before the chicane, everyone hitting the brakes as hard as they can. And we've had a spinner. I think that's Henry Kwong. Let's have a little look, because he completed that. Well, he's in the 3rd sector. He's completed the first 2 sectors, but possibly under pressure from Chris van der Drift. Round he went. How much was he delayed? But we can see the cars behind have all gone past him. So it looks for Henry Kwong. So he is the one falling down the order. He should be slotting into about 10th position. So really unfortunate. Had been running 4th. Chris van der Drift was hunting him down. Van der Drift is now in 4th place overall. And this little gaggle have all moved up position. 7th, 8th and 9th in shot, and unfortunately for Henry Kwong, out of the shot now in number 10, in 10th place overall. In the car that started on pole position, driven brilliantly by Max Visa, pulled 18 seconds clear of the rest before they came in for their pit stops. Henry Kwong just coming across the start-finish line in the background of the shot, now into 10th place overall. Car 30 in our shot now. Matsuda racing for the YH Racing Team, Takemichi Matsuda, leading the LC class. And he's got 12 second advantage over Paul Wong for the 852 Challengers team. There, a tussle that has, I think you could have said, settled for YH Racing Team. Now, just looking to see staying within the lines or not. Our race leader, he's already been warned for it. The team's got to have got on the radio to him, but Afikazi, there's his advantage over Yuki Nomoto. Yuki now very safe in second place, basically 5 seconds advantage, 5 and a bit seconds, and that's the same similar gap back to Yusuke Pohaka back in third place overall. .3 seconds, we'll call it. What's the gap back to Pohaka? Pohaka crossing the start-finish line any moment now. 5.6 seconds down, so very equal gaps between first, second and third, and almost 5 seconds back to Chris van der Drift, just the top of your screen there, in fourth place. 6 3/4 minutes remaining in the race. I can't see any changes in the top few positions, and in fact Yun Toshiro, who's leading the AM class in car number 77, 5th overall, he's 3 seconds down on Van der Drift, so it's all really spread out a little bit. There comes Toshiro, car number 77. Van der Drift in the middle of our shot. And the lightning pace that he and Evan Chen have shown has rather disappeared today. Evan Chen starting down in 7th position. Getting a little bit caught out in traffic in the early laps, and hasn't been the recovery drive we expected. Car number 77, just saw it on our screen, black and white flag. He's had the warning, now's the proper warning, the official warning for Jun Toshiro. Just been talking of him leading the AM class, but he's got nearly 12 seconds over Stephen Lin, so he can afford to rein it in. Here he is, down into the corner before the chicane, car number 77. That's the race livery of Promotion Racing. So he's just got to behave for another 5.5 minutes or so. Because to be penalised, particularly when you're sitting on a lead of 12 seconds over a class rival, no point hanging it out. Afiq Yazid, another lap being put on the board. That's 25 seconds, 25 laps done, 5.1 seconds ahead of Yuki Nomoto. Nomoto taking a few tenths here or there, but nothing that's going to trouble the Malaysian racer. There's Yulin, number 6, coming around in 6th place overall. Is he starting to catch Toshiro? Let's have a look at their respective lap times. Well, no, because Toshiro's decided even staying within the white lines, he can improve his pace, and his last lap was his best one, so it's gone out to 13.6 seconds. So there's going to be no place changes in AM, barring disasters. The AM class, the amateur class, very much in the pocket of the Promotion Racing crew. Late stage in the race for a driver to find their sweetest moment, but for Jun Toshiro, maybe the concentration of staying within the white lines has helped him pick his lines around the corner with greater accuracy, and everyone's benefited accordingly for the Promotion Racing team. So there's the LC class, 12-second advantage for Matsuda ahead of Paul Wong. Gabriele Moroni has suddenly closed right in because he was some distance away, but he is 3rd in class. Just looking to see Wong's lap pace has really dropped away, and Moroni should be passed on this lap in number 88. So running the entire race, whereas most of his rivals have had a driver change. Moroni coming on very strong at the end of the race. Here's Paul Wong, and on his rear fender should be Gabriele Moroni. There's Moroni, black and yellow car from GDL Racing. Good run, Afiq Yazid. Now he's coming up on this battle, but you can see he's got a nice advantage over the white car in the background. So the car that's leading the race is the turquoise one there, diving into turn 1, trying to be careful, aware, not just finding what he considers back markers, but back markers fighting, which is always the tricky thing. But What was encouraging there was that Moroni stayed out of the way by taking a tighter line. Yes, that's cut him off the back of Paul Wong, but Wong will be passed before the lap is out. In fact, in the course of the next few corners, sweeping through 100R, no problem at all for Afiq Yazid. He's done that very well indeed, and the little battle behind has hardly been disturbed. So Matsuda leading the Lamborghini Cup class. We saw him in number 30, but it's the car number 44, Wong, at the wheel, just the bottom of our shot, with plenty of attention from car 88 from GDL Racing, with Gabriele Moroni driving that very well indeed in the latter stages of the race. And just behind them is the car in second place overall, Yuki Nomoto, car number 66, Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. He's got a tidy advantage. He's actually started to close in on Afiq Yazid, but look, 2.5 minutes remaining in this 50-minute race. Yazid is safe in the lead of the race. The motor has dropped Yusuf Oaxaca. You saw Finn in third place overall. The leading pro crew is 7.3 seconds down on the driver of the 66 car from Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. Now he's got to prove his moment. Maybe a nice tidy exit from this, the final corner. Oh, almost caught the side of Moroni. I thought he might try and catch their slipstream, but he thought if I neater out of the corner I could pass them without using it and not have to be delayed. I'm not going to be able to be towed in their slipstream onto the tail of the race lead. The gap's too big for that. But the motor has got past Moroni. He's now using the slipstream of Paul Wong. Well, that was done very, very tidily indeed, but unfortunately for him, he's 4.2 seconds down on the race leader. He's not going to chalk that back. Black and white warning flag now for car number 57 in the hands of Saravut Seri Thoranickel. So one more misdemeanor from him for exceeding track limits, and he will get further punishment. He's had the warning, he's had the black and white full warning flag, but he doesn't want the royal flush of the penalty. The moto knows second place is the best he can expect. So at the end of this lap we will be going on to the final lap. We think we'll just double check that. But for Afiq Yazid, building on a really good start by Toshiyuki Ochai, the Hojust racing car, just out of the bottom of our shot. There we are, just going past car number 30. Does a very good job. Second place is going to be car number 66, driven by Yuki Nomoto. And about a little bit further back, in third place overall, will be Yusuf Oaxaca. Again, I just wanted to check on the progress of Brendan Leach. When he took over car number 7, he was down in about the 13th, 14th position. He's now got that number 7 car up into 7th place overall, but he's a dozen seconds back from Stephen Lynn. So as the race leader comes around to start what will be his final lap, certainly Leach will close in. He will be safe in third in the Pro-Am class, but he's not going to gain that position. He won't go from 7th to 6th, but the important thing are the points in the Pro-Am class, and those will be very, very handy indeed. Leach came here third in the Pro-Am class and will be putting useful points into that championship challenge. 6 rounds plus the world final. That's how the Lamborghini Super Trofeo shakes out. There is the sign, final lap. All clear. 4.185 seconds, a gap from race leader Afiq Yazid back to Yuki Nomoto. Third place Yusuf Oaxaca there, just turning into turn 1 for the final time. Chris van der Drift 5 seconds further back in 4th place overall. Yunta Shiro in 5th. He's leading the AM class. He's only 2 seconds down on van der Drift. It's been a very good run for promotion racing. But our race leader, everything under control for Hojust Racing. Very, very tidy lineup. It's a Pro-Am lineup, but Hojust has got it very well balanced. They've had 2 class wins in the Pro-Am class. They'll win it again today, but they've had 2 second places and 2 thirds. But importantly for them, this will be their first place as they take their 3rd Pro-Am victory of the year. Very, very tidy run from the pair of them. Bided their time. Yes, Max Visa dominated the early stages of the race, almost 2/3 of the race. Came in just before the pit window closed. The 89 car had a little spin in the hands of Henry Kwong, and now that is down in 10th place overall. Tale of 2 halves, if you will, with a more balanced driver pairing. Afiq Yazid coming through. 1 more corner to go, rising right-hander onto the start-finish straight, and there's nothing further that Yuki Nomoto can do. So victory will go, and a Pro-Am victory as well to Afiq Yazid and the driver who kicked it off from 6th place on the grid, Toshiyuki Ochai for Hojust Racing. They'll be very pleased with that indeed. 2nd place, Nomoto nailed it down at the end, 3 seconds almost precisely as Yazid backed off. Here in the background of the shot, the black car with the orange bonnet, if you will, Yusuf Bohaka. Overall top pro driver, ahead of Chris van der Drift. Van der Drift just now backing off and coming through. In fact, almost being passed by Yun Toshiro. There was just 1.2 seconds between them. The car on the left-hand side by the pit wall, leading the AM class, winning the AM class. Stephen Lin will be second in that, and now looking for the Lamborghini Cup victor, it will be car number 30 of Matsuda. He's just taken the flag. Second place in class, Moroni, who got past Wong in those closing laps. So all the positions sorted out. But just to reiterate, overall victory for 38 Hojas Racing crew. Also taking the victory in the Pro-Am class. The Am class won in 5th place overall by Toshiro. Sixth place is the second car in the Am class of Stephen Lin. And Huilin Han, third in the AM class, in 8th place overall. But for Hojas Racing, coming in, cruising in, as so often race winners do, just savouring the moment. Really, really good working for Hojas Racing this weekend. Useful haul of points, but importantly, that first outright win of their season. And that will be a massive fillip for the team. So Toshiyuki Akai did the first part of the race, did it very well indeed, Toshiyuki. Great start to the race, didn't go crazy. Watched as Max Visa escaped, but they always knew that Henry Kwong is not a match in their Pro-Am lineup, and in fact with that spin Henry Kwong dropped out of the top 3 positions in Pro-Am, so big shame for him and for Max Visa, who worked so hard in the opening stages of the race. But victory overall, car number 38, Pro-Am victory with it. Afiq Yazid, who's cruising home, and his Japanese teammate, who'll be delighted to be on the top step on home soil, Toshiyuki Ochai. And impressively, apart from the problem for the driver who started last after no qualifying time, Takeshi Matsumoto, good progress in the early laps of the race, but he parked in the garage. Everybody else got to the finish of the race. Waving out of the window, Afiq Yazid, just loving this moment. It's a season that's very, very much on the up. So the other finishers just coming into the pit lane. Here's the car that finished 3rd overall, but the pro winner, so more important points for the class leaders coming here. But when you're a pro crew and you finish 3rd overall, you have to ask why you didn't win outright. But for the FFF racing team, another useful haul of points. Car number 88 coming in alongside, that is the Lamborghini Cup 2nd place car of Gabriele Moroni. Not sure he was supposed to park just there, but it gets very crowded. We have 4 classes, don't forget. Overall, which is the pro class, the Pro-Am class, for which 38 has done a fabulous job by winning outright. The AM class and the LC Lamborghini Cup class. 19 starters, 18 finishers, but a first outright win this season for Hojas Racing, and they will be very, very happy with that. Car looks great. Unusual livery. Marks it out from the other cars with that turquoise and pink flashes on it. Waiting to look for a parking space. The parking space, the winner's parking space. Not just class victory and Pro-Am, but outright victory for Ochai. And the driver coming in slowly. Of course, he's got problems. He was slow on that, slowing down lap to come in because he was enjoying himself, waving to the marshals, friends and family. Now it's just in the parking lot below the podium. Parc Fermé, waiting to be greeted by a teammate. That's Toshiyuki Akai. The seas have parted, and there in the winning position, first car to the flag, Afiq Yazid and his teammate Toshiyuki Ochai. Hojas Racing, job done, and done very well indeed today. Hugs all round, chance for the marshals to come and clean up, but in fact very little to clean today. Let's take a look at the results. And Ochai and Yazid, who brought the car home, 29 laps and victory by 3 seconds. They backed off in the final few laps, had the job done. Yuki Nomoto, really strong second stint in the cars for Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. Second place, was closing in, but did some overtaking. Got past Yusuf Bohaka. Bohaka had to settle for being 10 seconds down on him in third place overall. Bohaka winning the pro class overall. More useful points. Chris van der Drift and Evan Chen, first time for them, not on the podium.
this year. They had 5 starts before this. They won all 5 of them. One of those results was taken away, but today just didn't find the sweet spot here at the Fuji Speedway. But 18 of the 19 starters got to the finish, all with stories to tell, I am sure. In the background, some days you get to see Mount Fuji. Today is not one of those. But let's take a look at the highlights on a warm but cloudy morning here at the Fuji Speedway. And the car on the left, the black car with the yellow flashes, D1 Racing Team, starting from pole position, and Max Guizo got the start, done very well indeed. On the outside the front row, the white car of Alex Au jumping into the second place, holding that very well indeed. Stephen Lin, good start from him, but the car that would go on to win the race started in 6th by Toshiyuki Akai, up into 4th place by the opening corner, and around the first lap he really started to hunt down the number 6 of Yu Lin, looking for a moment. As soon as he could, he found a way past into 3rd, so really good run at that point in the race for Chicane. It gave the foundations for victory, but it looked as though victory would go to the 89 car, because by the time it came, the rivals came in for their pit stops. Max Guizo had stretched the advantage, which at the end of the opening lap was 1 and a bit seconds. It went out to between 18 and 20 seconds. I looked away from the screen, I can't tell you which, but making progress, important early progress, was Ochai, up past Lin into 3rd place at the end of the opening lap. He then had to head off after Alex Au, and then after the pit stops it was the turn for Henry Kwong to try and defend, but Afik Yazid already had a few laps under his belt in car number 38. He caught him, and at the first opportunity he passed him. And thereafter it was stroking it to the finish, and was pressing hard enough to be warned for exceeding track limits. Made sure he didn't do it all over again, and brought it home thereafter. Then it was the turn of Namoto to hunt down Henry Kwong. Kwong not able to hold the line he wanted, and a very tidy move up into 2nd place for Namoto, giving chase on the race leader. Yazid couldn't do so. Pohaka came up into 3rd place in this, the number 63 car from the FFF Racing Team. He would go on to take victory in the pro class, but only 3rd place overall today. But again, it's all about scoring as many points as you can at every single round. So the 3rd place finisher did precisely that. And the 77 car, driven to the end by Yun Toshiro, went on to win the AM class in 5th place overall. Very good run from him. Got past Yulin. Then traffic in front of the race leader. These are the cars fighting for 2nd place in the LC class, but didn't really obstruct, which was very good of them. The race leader, Afik Yazid, just waited for the moment and then through 100 dive past Clement Lee. Handed over to Paul Wong at this stage in the race. Wong then had to look in his mirrors because Gabriele Moroni was right on his tail. But a driver who didn't have to look too hard in his mirrors, because he had an advantage of 5 seconds going into the final few laps. And here is that man, Afik Yazid, the Malaysian racer, around the last corner for the final time. And Yuki Namoto got to within 3 seconds as Yazid backed off on the run to the finish line. Looks like he was jinking into the pit lane. He's celebrating the serpentine run up to the checkered flag. 3 seconds to the good ahead of Yuki Namoto. Job done. First win for the year for the Hojust Racing Team, and also victory with it, with his teammate leaning out over the pit wall there, waving victory today at Fuji Speedway. For future races. Thanks very much.